So this is the title of my presentation today, which is lessons from geopolitical events. And it's also very important to remember that every point I make from here onwards for the next 35, 40 minutes, kahin na kahin it has an economic implication. So our apni life is all about economics and money and capital markets and fixed income equity. So I'll kind of finally bring it down to what does it mean for us in India and for investors. So let me start by saying that actually, if you look at it, geopolitics and political events anywhere in the world are now pretty much a part of our lives. You cannot stay away from it. And I say that with great reason. I'll show you in the next couple of slides what I mean by it. But one thing is for sure, it is now center of our lives. What do I mean by that? I've just listed, you can just see this list out here. And all of this has happened in the last 2 years. And there is no sequence to the list. There is no, ऐसा नहीं है कि ये कोई chronological order है. बस मैंने ऐसे लिख दिया जैसे जैसे याद आया. I kept writing it down. But all of this has happened in the last 2 years, starting with COVID. I think it was a bioweapon, whether it was deliberately released, whether it released by mistake, etc., etc. I'm not getting into all of that. But COVID has had tremendous impact everywhere in the world, especially in India. In fact, it continues to have an impact in China, where they've said that they will have a zero COVID policy. And by definition, zero COVID policy ka matlab, they're just not getting back into manufacturing. Their supply chains are also broken. So, and then look at all of it. Hong Kong mein 2019 mein democratic protests were happening where the students, university students en masse by lakhs had come down to protest on the streets in Hong Kong against the Chinese regime. They didn't want more of China dominance in Hong Kong. आपने अपनी देखा होगा in the last few months only how Sri Lanka went into a debt trap, and the images in the world were Rajapaksa ke ghar mein swimming pool mein log kood rahe hain and they're in the palace and all of this has happened in our neighborhood literally 3-4 months ago. Also, what happened was we had a clash with China for the first time in 60 years, which had never happened. We lost 20 soldiers, and by all accounts and by all intelligence accounts, apparently China would have lost upwards of 60 soldiers in that clash. And something that had never happened in 60 years, वो भी हो गया पिछले 2 साल में. बालाकोट भी हो गया, सर्जिकल स्ट्राइक भी हो गए. ऊपर से Taliban has also come back into Afghanistan. That is something like one would have never thought that Taliban will come back in Afghanistan. That happened after 20 years. So things that did not have happened, things that have never happened for 100 years, COVID, 20 years, Afghanistan, 60 years, clash with China. So in sequence or no sequence, if you look at it, ये कुछ तो हो रहा है कि पिछले 2-2.5 साल में इतनी बड़ी लिस्ट हो गई और ये लिस्ट खत्म नहीं हो रही है. फिर इमरान खान भी निकल गया. The guy who used to constantly, speak anti-India, he is no longer Prime Minister of Pakistan.